Okay, we're here with the Chapter 5 practice test for statistics and question 11. An article in the winter 2003 issue of Chance magazine reported on Houston Independent School District's magnet schools programs. The data on applicant ethnicity and their likelihood of admission is summarized in the table below. So we've got a very robust table here. And the first question is, estimate the probability that a randomly selected student would be white and turned away. Okay, so we have white. I'll just going to use the letter W here. And turned away. Okay, so notice that this is an and probability. And an and probability means that we're looking at one of the inside numbers in the table. Not a margin, but an inside number. So we're looking for the intersection of white, W, and turned away, and that is going to be 359. So this probability is actually not too terribly difficult. It's just 359 out of the grand total of 1755. Now for letter B, estimate the probability that a randomly selected applicant would be Asian or waitlisted. Okay, so let's take a look at the Asian row. And let's take a look at the waitlisted column. And we see that they are not mutually exclusive because their intersection is not 0. Mutually exclusive events would have a 0 in the intersection. So if I wanted to compute the probability of Asian or waitlisted, I'm going to have to use the general addition property. The probability of Asian or waitlisted is equal to the probability of Asian plus the probability of waitlisted minus the probability of Asian and waitlisted. And remember, this is because we had counted those 49 students when we counted all the waitlisted people, and we counted them again when we counted all the Asian people. So those 49 students were double counted. So what's the probability of Asian? I believe that is 292 out of 1755, plus the probability of waitlisted. Waitlisted would be 300. That's going to be a marginal total, 300 out of 1755, minus, now this is an and probability, so it's an inside cell, 49 out of 1755. Remember, single probabilities are margin totals, and probabilities are inside numbers. So that gives me 0.3094. Perfect. So let's take a look at C now. Estimate the probability that someone is accepted if he or she was black or Hispanic. So this if here is meant to disguise the fact that this is a conditional probability. This if is disguising a given that. Okay, so we're presuming that the student we're looking at is black or Hispanic. I don't know why they would combine those two together, but we're assuming that they're black or Hispanic, and what's the probability that they were accepted. So let's write that symbolically. I was realizing that Asian and accepted both start with the letter A, so we've changed Asian to AS and accepted to AC. So in our probability, and let me just kind of scroll down so we're more center here, the probability of accepted, given that we were looking at a black or Hispanic student. So you know what that means. It means we're going to look only at the line that says black or Hispanic. So we're only going to look at the black or Hispanic line. Okay. And the quick way of doing this is if you're just looking at that line, how many of those students were accepted? That's 485. How many students in that line? That's 517. So that's the quick way of doing that. There is a 93.8, or there was a 93.8 probability of being accepted into a Houston Independent School District magnet school if the student was Black or Hispanic. If you wanted to go out the long way, and I think there's a reason for us to talk about this, this would be the probability of accepted and Black Hispanic divided by the probability of Black Hispanic. But if you look at that, that's the same numbers that we had before. We had that 480, the probability of accepted or Black Hispanic is, the probability of accepted and Black Hispanic is 485 out of 1755. And then the probability of Black Hispanic is 517 out of 1755. Notice how those are the same numbers. So we can compute this either way. If you're given a table, I really think it's easier just to read it off of the table and not worry so much about the probability formula here. So that said, let's go to letter D. Estimate the probability that a student who was not white was either waitlisted or turned away. Okay, so for this one, we're going to have to combine some of our rows. Not white combines the two rows for Black, Hispanic, and Asian. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add those numbers together. So as you can see, if the number of not white who is accepted was 595, the number of not white who were waitlisted is 49, and the number of not white who was turned away is 165, for a total of 809 total not white students. The next thing that we're going to have to combine here, I believe, is waitlisted or turned away. So waitlisted or turned away would be these two columns over here. So this is confusing because two of the rows that I already combined, I now got to combine them again. So instead of 49 and 165, we have to combine those two together. So the number of these students who are non-white and waitlisted or turned away is 214, and the number of white students who were waitlisted and turned away is 610, and the total number of students who were waitlisted or turned away was 824. I know that's a little bit confusing, but it is going to be easier once these numbers have been combined to figure this out. So now for letter D, we're going to estimate the probability that a student who was not white was either waitlisted or turned away. So reading through this carefully again, a student who was not white. So this is given not white. Okay, so let's write this down symbolically. We've got the probability. What is the probability that a student who is not white was waitlisted or turned away? So what's the probability that a student that was waitlisted or turned away, given that they were not white, that they're white complement? We're going to write that symbolically. Well, no, let's do this. Now we're only going to look at the not white row, which is yellow. Okay. In this yellow row, how many were waitlisted or turned away? 214. 214 out of the 809 in the not white row were turned away. So the easy way to do this is to say this is 214 students who were not white were either waitlisted or turned away, out of a total of 809 students who were not white. And that gives us 2645. This one turned out to be a lot easier if we didn't worry so much about the formula. Of course, if you did want to use the formula, then we would have to say the probability of waitlisted or turned away and not white would be those 214 students out of the 1755 total, divided by, now the probability of a white complement is 809 out of 1755. Remember, those numbers are exactly the same as if we had just read them from the chart. So this does give us the exact same probability. And that kind of does it for question 11. It's a pretty involved question. So good luck, and we'll see you for the next part of your Chapter 5 practice test.